When did you stop believing in yourself? Maybe there was no single moment when it happened, no dramatic announcement, no clear line you can point to and say, that was the day I changed. It may have happened slowly. You stopped wearing something you liked because you already knew the comment that was coming. You stopped sharing good news because somehow your excitement always became a problem. You begin thinking through ordinary choices based on how someone else might react. At first, it can look like compromise. After a while, it becomes self-erasure. Most people think emotional control is obvious. They picture someone making demands, setting rules, or openly telling you what you can and cannot do. Sometimes it does not look like that. But the kind of control that can be hardest to recognize is the kind that teaches you to control yourself. It often begins with small reactions that seem easy to dismiss. You wear something that makes you feel confident, and they make a joke at your expense. You spend time with a friend, and the rest of the evening feels tense. You try to explain that something hurt you, but by the end of the conversation, you are apologizing. None of those moments may seem large enough to name as control on their own. That is the part of what makes this pattern so powerful. You begin adjusting before the next reaction comes. You change the outfit, decline the invitation, soften the opinion, or decide that bringing up the issue is not worth another argument. Eventually, they do not have to say very much. Their past reactions are already influencing your present decisions. I want you to notice what happened there. The control moved from the relationship into your thinking. Once that begins, you may start measuring yourself through someone else's comfort. Instead of asking, what do I think? You wonder how they will take it. Instead of trusting your discomfort, you look for a reason to dismiss it. Even simple decisions can become exhausting because you're trying to predict the emotional cost before you make them. That is not peace. That is self-monitoring. And when you live that way long enough, it can become difficult to tell the difference between your own voice and the voice you have learned to anticipate. This is why someone can leave a controlling relationship and still feel controlled. The person may no longer be in the room, but their criticism is. Their disapproval shows up when you try something new. Their judgment appears when you look in the mirror. Their version of you begins competing with the version of you that you know yourself to be. The relationship may have ended, but the editing continues. In betrayal recovery, we often focus on what another person did. The lies matter. The manipulation matters. The broken trust matters. But there is also another loss that deserves attention. You may have stopped trusting your own reactions. You may have felt something was wrong and convinced yourself that you were being too sensitive. You may have needed several other people to confirm what your body had already been telling you. Perhaps you become so accustomed to defending the other person that you stopped being honest about the effect the relationship was having on you. That does not mean you're weak. It means you adapted. You found ways to lower the tension, preserve the connection, or protect yourself from the next reaction. Those adjustments may have helped you survive the relationship, but they can also leave you disconnected from your identity. That is often what people mean when they say, I do not recognize myself anymore. They are not saying every part of them disappeared. They are saying they no longer know which parts of themselves feel safe to express. So how do you begin finding yourself again? not by forcing yourself to become who you were before the relationship. You know more now. You have lived through something that changed the way you understand trust, boundaries, and emotional safety. The work is not to go backward. The work is to begin making choices that are no longer organized around someone else's reaction. Start small. Notice where you automatically edit yourself. Maybe you hesitate before expressing an opinion. Maybe you apologize when you have done nothing wrong. Maybe you avoid something you enjoy because you can still hear the criticism attached to it. Do not judge yourself when you notice it. I want you to pause and ask, is this my decision or is this an old reaction making a decision for me? That question creates space. And in that space, you get a choice. You may still decide to stay quiet, change your plans, or take more time. The difference is that the decision begins belonging to you again. Self-trust does not return through one dramatic act of confidence. It comes back through evidence. Each time you acknowledge what you feel without immediately dismissing it, you create evidence that your inner experience matters. Each time you make an honest choice and allow yourself to handle the outcome, you prove that you can rely on your own judgment. This can feel uncomfortable at first. When you have spent a long time avoiding someone's disapproval, freedom can initially feel like danger. Saying what you mean may make you anxious. Wearing what you like may feel strangely exposed. Choosing yourself in a small situation may bring up guilt. That discomfort does not mean you are making the wrong choice. It may simply mean that your nervous system is learning that being yourself no longer has to lead to punishment. This is how you begin separating your voice from theirs. Not through anger alone, through practice, through honesty, through choices that make your life feel more like your own. If you no longer recognize yourself, it does not mean the person you were is gone. It may mean that version of you has been buried under years of adapting, anticipating, and trying to keep the peace. You do not have to uncover everything at once. Begin by noticing what you miss about yourself. Your humor, your confidence, the way you used to speak without rehearsing every word. The things you enjoyed before they became a source of tension. Those parts of you are not foolish or unimportant. They are clues. They show you where your identity is asking to be welcomed back into your life. The most dangerous emotional control is the kind that becomes your own voice. But once you recognize that voice, you can stop treating it like the truth and you can begin listening for your own. If this helped you understand why you have not felt like yourself, like this video and subscribe for more conversations about betrayal recovery, self-trust, and rebuilding your identity. And if you realize that you have spent years adapting to someone else's reactions and no longer know how to separate your voice from theirs, you do not have to work through that alone. Click the link below to book a betrayal recovery readiness call. We will slow the story down, look at how the relationship changed the way you see yourself, and identify what rebuilding self-trust can look like in your life now. Healing is not only about recognizing how someone controlled you, it is about remembering that your life still belongs to you.